everybody, Simasick this year again to talk to you about what I bought and what I watched today. And today, right at the Target where I got myself 4 Blu-rays, so let's take a look at everything I got. The first Blu-ray I picked up was Event Horizon. This is a movie I've heard about throughout the years, a movie that I thought sounded very interesting, but one I never got around to actually watching. So when I came across it today on Blu-ray, figured it was about time I finally pick it up and check this one out. The next title I grabbed was Alvin the Chipmunk Chipwrecked, this year being the Blu-ray DVD digital copy combo pack. I did see this movie in theaters and it was okay. I did actually really enjoy the first Alvin the Chipmunks movie, thought it was very enjoyable. The second and the third were just mediocre, but I definitely want to pick it up because A, I am a completist, have to get the entire series, and B, like I said, it wasn't all that bad, it just wasn't all that great either, but I definitely want to have it in my collection. Next I picked up Three Stooges the Movie, this year also being the Blu-ray DVD digital copy combo pack. Now this is a movie that from the trailers I thought looked mediocre. I just saw it and thought, you know, it looks like something I want to see. I'm curious. I am interested in seeing this more just due to curiosity, but I do think it's going to be a movie that will entertain me. It will hold my interest. I'll probably just think it was mediocre. My review on it will probably be very just bland. I'll probably just tell you guys it was okay. But regardless, I did want to see this movie, so I definitely had to pick it up today, and I can't wait to check it out. And the last title I picked up today, I'm sure you've already guessed, and that was Finding Nemo, this year being the Ultimate Collector's Edition. This comes with a Blu-ray, Blu-ray 3D, DVD, and digital copy. Very, very happy to get this. I love this film. I'm a huge fan of all the Disney Pixar movies. Already have this one on DVD, but I'm very happy to have it on Blu-ray now because I know it's going to look fantastic in HD, and I am so happy to add this to my Blu-ray collection. So that's it for what I bought today, so now it's what I watched. And today, I finally did it. I finally took the plunge, manned up, decided it was about time I finally watched this movie. I did mention last year that I was contemplating checking this movie out. I wanted to see it, but I just didn't know if I was up to the challenge. But tonight, I figured it was finally about time that I watched Home Alone 3. This movie has scared the hell out of me for years now because I just knew it was going to be god-awful, and I did not know if I really wanted to put myself through watching this. However, a lot of you told me it was actually decent, and I actually read some somewhat okay reviews on this movie. So I was going into it optimistically. I thought, okay, maybe this movie is not as bad as I think it's going to be. Maybe it'll be okay. I did just watch Richie Rich's Christmas Wish. I kind of went into that expecting it to be crap, but it was alright. I actually enjoyed the movie. I was hoping this would be more of the same. It was not. This movie was just wretched. I didn't like a single thing about this movie. It starts off promising. The little intro actually has some of the classic music from the first two movies. I'm thinking, okay, well, we got the great music in this. Maybe it'll still be a good movie. You know, again, I like the intro, which I know isn't really saying much, but it was playing the classic music, and I was thinking to myself, okay, all right, we're starting off strong. Maybe this will be good. And from there, it goes way downhill. The main character, Alex, just could not stand him. You know, Kevin in the first two movies can be annoying at times, but this Alex kid, I just wanted to smack him in the face the entire movie. He was just bugging me. I was just so annoyed by him. Our villains in this movie, we don't have, you know, 2 great villains. We have 4 villains this time, who are all just bumbling idiots, but not in the fun way that Marvin and Harry were, but just in kind of a stupid, sort of idiotic, not fun at all kind of way. I really enjoyed the slapstick in the first 2 movies. It was fun. Every time somebody got hurt or did something silly, you laughed at it. It was very enjoyable. In this movie, it just seems dumbed down, all the slapstick, which it's really hard to describe because you think of the first two and you think, well, it's dumb slapstick in those 2 movies too. And yes, it is, but it works a lot better than the slapstick in these movies. And I think part of the reason is because in the first 2 movies, we had burglars played by great actors. In this movie, we have 4 burglars played by more or less nobodies. Actors who just aren't anything special. They don't really bring anything to the table. They do something funny. They have to scream. They have to make a weird face. They way overdo it. It just does not work. The traps in this movie really weren't very fun either. I didn't really enjoy those. There's just nothing great about this movie. The first 2 movies had a lot of heart too. You know, although they were fun and slapsticky, and goofy at times. There was a lot of hearts in the movies, and at the end of the movie, you had that great warm feeling that a Christmas movie should give you. In this movie, again, no, you did not have that. In fact, this movie really wasn't even a Christmas movie. I'm trying to think if I even remember there being Christmas decorations up, and I don't believe there were. It did take place during winter, though, so I guess that's something. But I'm honestly trying to remember if this took place during Christmas. It may have. I can't even remember that. I was just so bored by this movie and just so taken away from it. I can't remember if it was during Christmas time. Because if it was during Christmas time, they didn't really bring that up ever. All I can remember, it was definitely snowing out. Again, just not a fun movie. The kid is not really left alone home per se. He has the chicken pox and his parents basically have to run out quick and they leave him home for a little bit by himself. And that's when the burglars come. That wasn't as much fun either. The fun of the first two movies was that he was left home by accident for a long period of time. That was funny. They could have done it again in here. Yeah, okay, it would have been, something stupid the third time around. But this time it's a whole new kid, a whole new family. This family could have left him alone, not some kid at home from school with the chicken pox. Just didn't seem to work. I can't recommend this movie. I know a lot of you were saying it's good, you liked it. I honestly think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I would assume some of you out there who like this movie probably grew up with it. And I can understand that. Movies that I grew up with a lot of really bad movies that I absolutely love because I grew up with them. And for me, they're very nostalgic. They're part of my childhood, and I absolutely love some really bad films out there that a lot of people would probably make fun of me for. So, I can understand that. If you grew up with this film and it's nostalgic for you and you really enjoy it, then I get that. I can see why you guys like it. But for me, I didn't grow up with this movie. When this movie came out, I was old enough to be rolling my eyes at it. I enjoyed the first two. I was a huge fan. Those movies came out when I was a kid. And then I remember when I heard the third movie was coming out, I was like, really? Why the hell are they doing a third movie? So, not a movie I grew up with. And it took me all these years to finally sit down and watch this one. And I was just as disappointed as I assumed I was going to be. So if you haven't seen this movie, I would say definitely stay away. It is not something you need to see. There's really nothing redeemable about this movie at all. I can't really think of a single thing in this movie that I enjoyed. I really did not like this movie. Well, okay, I guess there was one thing that I actually enjoyed about this movie that I would say was somewhat redeemable. And that's the fact that Alex's sister is played by Scarlett Johansson. A very young Scarlett Johansson before she more or less broke out. And when we first see her, she's listening to the Dancehall Crashers. I'm a huge fan of that band. They're a great, great ska band. I've seen them in concert many times, one of my favorite bands. So that was really it for what was redeemable. I was just watching the movie, bored out of my mind. Scarlett Johansson comes on, listening to Dancehall Crashers. I'm like, yes, that's really cool. And then the rest of the movie, I'm just taken back by it. In fact, the very next scene, his brother is bouncing this basketball on the ground, and you see a cricket walking by, and he smushes the cricket and picks up the basketball and looks around like, oh, what was that noise? That smush noise? And there's a really fake cricket on the bottom of the basketball, and it's just stupid. So, yeah, I gotta say, stay away from this movie. Again, for those of you who grew up with it, for those of you who find this movie very nostalgic, more power to you. I completely understand why you would like this film. I get that. But for those of you who did not grow up with it, for those of you who do not find this movie nostalgic, for those of you who have never seen this movie, you don't need to see it. Stay away. Watch the first two. They're both brilliant, but Home Alone 3, not very good. One last thing I want to say about Home Alone 3 before I go, and this was something interesting that I learned on the commentary on my Home Alone Blu-ray. And that was that apparently the director Chris Columbus and the writer John Hughes were talking about, and apparently even discussed this with 20th Century Fox, shooting Home Alone 2 and Home Alone 3 together at the same time, both starring Macaulay Culkin. Apparently, they had thought of a really good plot. They had a really good story. They didn't say what it was. I have no idea what the story would have been, but apparently they thought about shooting them together, and then the following Christmas putting out Home Alone 3 again, starring Macaulay Culkin. That would have probably been interesting. In fact, he even mentions about how many millions of dollars Fox probably lost out on by saying no to that idea. Because I would assume that Home Alone 3 made no money whatsoever. I mean, well, alright, I guess it made some money, but probably not nearly as much as an actual true sequel to the first two Home Alone movies would have made. Had they put out a third Macaulay Culkin Home Alone, during the next Christmas season, I guarantee you that would have made a ton of money. Probably would have been the weakest in the series. I'm sure it wouldn't have made as much money as the first two. I'm sure not as much people would have went out and saw it. But I guarantee you, probably would have been pretty decent. So just something interesting that I heard on the commentary. I thought that was very odd that 20th Century Fox turned that down. Why they turned it down, I don't know. It could have been money or whatever. I'm not sure why they turned it down. But I just think, as Chris Columbus said, 20th Century Fox probably lost millions of dollars by not doing that. And I kind of wish they really would have, actually put out a decent Home Alone 3 as opposed to the crap I watched tonight. So that was it. Just wanted to relay that little bit of history there, a little bit of knowledge, and just let you guys know that there was the possibility of there being an actual real Macaulay Culkin Home Alone 3 at one time. So that's it for what I bought and what I watched today. Certainly excited about the 4 Blu-rays I picked up today. Can't wait to sit down and watch all of those. And also, finally checking out Home Alone 3. I'm glad I saw it. Obviously, I love watching movies, even ones I don't enjoy. I'm glad I saw the movie. It was something within my collection that I definitely had to check out. So glad I finally sat down and watched it, but I will never be watching it again. It was horrible. I can't recommend it. I'm certainly not trying to put you guys down who do like the movie. Again, I understand. It's probably nostalgic for you. That's awesome. But for me, somebody who is not nostalgic for, somebody who was coming into it for the first time, I just hated it. I could not stand the movie. I'll never watch it again. And I can't recommend it for any newcomers. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to see what I bought when I watch tomorrow. See ya.